Nigerians, this doctor don't expose Tinubu. Make we not allow President Tinubu to see this video abeg for the sake of peace, because wetin this doctor just tell Tinubu for im face for inside this video no be wetin I would like make President Tinubu hear. This doctor na one of the fearless man wey I don ever see for my life because of wetin tell Tinubu at the ending of this video. Make una hear this doctor im own reaction for so many questions wey be like say one journalist dey ask am for inside this particular video. Im own reaction for so many questions wey dey ask am about 2027, Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar and President Tinubu. And make una say una share this video because more Nigerians need to come hear the truth wey this doctor dey pour out for inside this video.
What are the strengths of P2B and what you think is also his weakness that could give him the edge over Atiku Abubakar and President Tinubu come this 2027 election?
Okay, there are some contested narrative as to who actually won the election. Many obedience and P2B himself, and in some extent myself, think that probably he won 23. I can't be very definitive because INEC didn't give us a good picture, and of course we can do extrapolation. So take for example River State. It's not clear, unofficial, but official, unofficial, that Mr. Peter Obi won, defeated both Atiku Abubakar and Tinubu in Rivers. Okay, you saw the BBC report. We now know that there were so many mutilations. So if you had given him Rivers, and many people say Benue was a victory for him. So these are areas that people claim. Southern Borno, some people claim he won. Some people say he did very well in Southern Borno. In Lagos, where he won, the figures people are getting is about a million plus. If you go to Plateau, I was very sure of that. Jang himself said they got 1.2 million votes. So it's likely and very probable that P2B won that election in terms of votes. But of course, he was not declared the winner, so he lost. So why do I think he could beat Atiku Abubakar and Tinubu? I think that Tinubu ran in 2023 as the man who fixed Lagos. Even though he didn't campaign, even though he didn't really campaign as much, he didn't go about, he didn't even debate. So he was like a myth created around Tinubu and Lagos. I recall even in Chatham House, we had surrogates and proxies who filled in. It was more like this coronated guy who everybody kind of feels can get a job done. We don't even need to ask him whether he can get a job done, but he can get a job done because he got Lagos done. Of course, I have my idea about Lagos. Lagos was not a true success because I go back to Lagos here and now and I see show that I see my people. I measure by other people I know in Lagos who are not either financial gurus or 419 top guys or business entrepreneurs, known as there's no mobility in terms of, they are doing their businesses and they have grown. So Lagos is still a question mark. But the bigger question is that Tinubu then is not Tinubu today. And the other question is that actually he's not the guy who did most of the heavy lifting. Maybe some people say maybe Fashola did a greater job. Maybe Ambo did a great job. The old man, Jakonde, did fantastic. Tedola, probably something. So, but that was Tinubu owns that moniker as the man who fixed Lagos. So he probably got a pass. Many people voted for him. But now he's going to run on records. And I think that the records are bad. If our politics is responsive, meaning a politics that reflects the people's actual feeling about candidates, he would lose woefully because, especially APC, by the way. APC is now in power for 3 cycles, about 16 years. If Tinubu finishes, which he will do, these 4 years, APC would have been in power for almost about the time PDP was, okay? Democracy works in circles. So when you elect a party and they fail to deliver according to expectation, they are voted out. I was convinced that if we had a free and fair election, they would have voted out APC last time because it's not about Tinubu person. It's about the party has failed. 8 years of Buhari was a classic failure. And that 8 years was enough to send APC packing if our democracy followed the textbook. Now, Tinubu is going to run on performance. And like I said, no arguments. He has failed. He failed in all the promises. He failed in electricity. He failed in everything he promised. So, but then, this is Nigeria, and our politics has to respond to the context. So he must still put up a surprise based on party dynamics, based on electoral system, based on nature of politics and consciousness, ethnicity, religion, Muslim. So many things are still open for, you can't predict exactly how it's. Let's watch the campaign. But I would say potentially he's running with a deficit. Somebody who is in power, who is not going to, campaign on what I would do, but on what I've done. Now, Atiku Abubakar seemed to me not as strong. In 2023, that's my own analysis. He ran with a PDP, a much structure. His people will narrate it as he was sabotaged internally, the G4 and the G5 or G and all that. But again, his electoral record does not show he has strong constituency votes. This is his. That either the platform he runs supports him, and the structure. 2019, which many people believe they won with P2B on himself, and PDP is strong then, and P2B carrying the South, as they say, and him, that worked well. But so I would think that the electoral map, as it is today, does not guarantee an Atiku victory at the first ballot. I think that depending on how the North votes, okay, he might get to be number two, and then perhaps enter runoff, which could, depend on the dynamics of runoff, help him. But if I'm looking at electoral map and say who's going to win where, who's going to do 25, I'm not going to place him anywhere in the South as likely to win anything. Maybe more popular than there. In the North, I see him fighting stiffly with Tinubu and P2B with Pop Council. As it has today, if I was looking at what happened in 2023 and what I think may happen, there could be some serious sharing with perhaps himself aging. Last time in the North, Tinubu won slightly. Tinubu's presidency was actually a northern president. The North brought Tinubu into the game. Tinubu lost the South to P2P, Southwest cumulatively, and won the North, because of majorly the vote from Northwest and, of course, some part of North Central like Kogi and Niger. P2B defeated him apart from those two areas. He won Benue marginally, and Peter won the rest. So Tinubu's victory, derives from strong Northern support. How far will his lieutenants hold that territory? How much will Muslim sentiment play as it did perhaps for him then? Not too much, I think. Then how much will the North rally around Atiku and say, okay, this is our time. If they do and knock off Tinubu, then Atiku might have a chance to come up number of votes, perhaps highest or second, depending on how the other places vote, but won't get the required spread to win. Do you get what I mean? Because he needs to do well in the South. I mean, the North has numerical superiority, but the Nigerian electoral architecture is well designed to compensate. So you're going to win highest number of votes, but you're also going to do very well to third in spread. So that spread is really where I write him. I almost conclude that he can't win the election at the first ballot, totally. Then if you come to Mr. P2B, if you watch his electoral map, he won the South. So one conclusion in the South is, South. Lost to Tinubu in the Southwest, but did very well in Lagos. Atiku won in Osun, where Adeleke PDP held out for him, which I think today they're probably going to work for Tinubu. So Obi has to hold his constituency, perhaps improve the voter turnout. So if he gets 70% in Southeast, which he could likely get, but it's something now of each state having 1 million, or 800, then it's going to push beyond this 6-point-something million votes. North Central is critical for his pathway because Tinubu is also making a lot of good inroad in the North Central because of the politics of appointment and very strong seduction by his wife and the FCT minister. So PDP campaign has to fight hard to win back the North Central. And the Middle Belt, strong showing, a lot is shifting again. Tinubu is also playing some politics, smart politics there, with the Balami and others. So, but the point going for P2B is that what it stands for, resonates with the people, so that the undertakers, the gatekeepers, and the middlemen who helped him are dispensable. You see, yes, P2B's weakness is structure. At some point, you need structure to close the deal. You need organization, which it doesn't seem to have competitively relative to. I mean, the other two candidates have a better organization and structure. That's fair to say. Yeah, and he does not pride himself as the organizational man. In fact, in many politics, maybe he's a champion of networks, small groups that are held together by common ideology, common belief, common trust in him, and they will go and work. In the last election, it was like spider game. It was like mosquito. Everybody's on the field. And that's, I think, is where he has strength. Retail politics. He has the energy to traverse Nigeria. He has the energy to probably go to each, let's say, local government in this country in a campaign. And talking to people, he has the appeal that no other candidate will have, in terms of people meet him and they say, wow, somebody meets him in the gym, for example, and he's doing 1 hour on the treadmill. And the lady says, this is real. The lady says, look, you are my president. Because something different. I mean, the lady sits back and watch Nigerian president or Princess wannabes, and they're like moving like a tired engine. Somebody's nudging them. They are stumbling. They are just jack and, feet and starts. And he sees this person sprightly. He said, this is what I want. This is how the world is moving. So his optics is very good. His symbolisms are excellent. So somebody sits and says, this is my president. Or somebody sees him at the airport walking briskly. Or somebody hears him talk about the things that matter. So I think that at the level of retail politics, that's where he's going to excel. He's not going to excel in the big, land at the airport with your team puts up money and recruit 1 million people to come at the rally and the sea of heads. That's the politics of structure, those who have capacity, because those people are paid. You have to, even if they don't charge you money, you have to mobilize them in and mobilize them out. I don't see Peter excelling that. I think he understands his competitive advantage. That's why he's going for the retail politics. He's going to go to hinterlands, talk to people, talk to groups. And then those people evangelize, take up the message of talking to them. I know a strong APC leader in my state, Imo State, who called me and said, look, we're in crisis. My daughter says, all of them say they're obedient. He told me that one of his worker, who is NYC from Benue, came and begged him. I said, sir, please, I'll go and register. I want to beg you one thing. So what is it? So don't say that beg, sir. Yes, everything you want me to do, I'll do. But allow me to vote for Mr. Peter before president. I'll vote for other people. So he was stupefied. He promised the lady. So those are the kind of, changes. People, look, Nigerians are connected. Nigerians are no longer, we parents can take our children a dump. We can control them, but they are not. They are in a situation where they see what's going on in the world. They see how presidents look like, and they feel like, this is what I'm going to be. In fact, somebody told me that a lot of northern kids, most of these political heavyweights, their children are closeted obedience. And I've seen a few of them walk down to me, sons of notables who would never probably vote for a P2B because of institutional commitments. But their children have voted. So I think that Peter has strengths and weaknesses as to what's going to matter in the 2023 are three things. Peter, Atiku has strength in terms of support base, in terms of elites across the country, people who have worked with him, network, people who can probably finance his campaign, people who believe in him, people who has shown, some graces. And it's a true and true Democrat who has, for many decades, at least for the last 20 years, been actively fighting, campaigning, politicking in the right way, which is the democratic pattern. So for me, of all the people who are running election, Atiku is probably the star Democrat for me, because it's somebody who has engaged politics, not from a violent perspective, but engage politics as a disciplined process of seeking for votes. It doesn't mean he's the best to govern. In my sense, for me, no. I think it's good. But I think that we need disruption. We need some symbolic shifts, and the shift means shift to a developmental state. And right now, it's Peter who has that message strong for me. So Tinubu has a lot going for him. He's going to rely on a lot of proxy. 36 governors means 36 centers of campaign, but the problem is that he's not going to be anywhere. He hasn't seemed to be not to be disposed, maybe not fiscal strong enough to traverse and talk to people, and maybe doesn't even care much about talking to people, because the last election, in fact, don't look for election, his presidency has been a presidency of some kind of perverse stoicism and perverse dignity. Don't talk to people. It doesn't make broadcasts. So he's not going to campaign, but somehow he believes he can win because they got a system, they have the operations. He had Wike boast in a stupid manner, actually, that if he had been in a Ondo or Osun, Tinubu would have won. I mean, basically telling you that are you a voter? Simply means that if I'm there, I will engineer the process and take victory out of defeat. I mean, that language suggests that these guys, apart from thinking they are too powerful, I think they are also silly and foolish, that they don't know even what. How can you say the president has commended the governor and says free and fair, boasting, president has taken glory that he ran a free and fair election. And this guy is saying, oh, if you wanted it, he would have told me, and I will go there and get it. What kind of senseless talk is that? So the main things we don't know. Whether the election will be free and fair, these are the caveats. Whether the security will break everybody's head on the voting day, lock people in and allow the result to be written, we don't know. Whether the court will typically go roguish in many cases, we don't know. So, but if you are analyzing on how people feel, and democracy is about people voting their preference, I think that Tinubu is beatable by either of the principal aspirants or together.
All right, there are those political pundits have argued that without a united opposition, that it will be difficult to beat President Tinubu. And now we have a group called the G100 Mission. They've kickstarted plans to see whether they can rally behind a united opposition. What is your take on this?
Let me start with saying that the G100 is a group I know well, and by the way, as a matter of behind, I'm part of the initial thoughts about it, and I'm in touch with them every day. The point for me is a united opposition is very good because not just win an election, it creates the political theorists argue that the best politics is one that is two-party structure, either de facto or de jure, by law or by fact. So you have two major parties that are contending. So they have two different platforms for governance. They have, congregate and create an alternative. And so voters vote A or B. So if you look across the world, you see that there's either by law or by fact, de facto, two parties. And again, a united opposition, in my view, will strengthen commitment to stop Nigeria from becoming a dictatorship, to fight back, to keep institutions independent and neutral. If there are small splitters, fragments, their efforts will be almost insubstantial. So the notion is correct. The idea also that if they all come together, which looks now almost very difficult, under one platform, of course, I've told you this analysis of how much Atiku is strong in which area and how much will be strong. So if the two of them were together, and hopefully their voters and supporters were together, the assumption people also make is that they assume that if you probably, which is what most of the people fancy, and Atiku as president as Anobi as vice, assuming that is even possible or acceptable to P2B, will it be acceptable to P2B's voters? People also feel that's the interesting about P2B. P2B's support base is unlike any other support base, that they are not people that you paid for. That means they're not people who are beholden to you, grateful for what you have done for them. So Tinubu has his loyalists who he has brought up, helped, put into political positions, and so they are Tinubu people. So they have a debt to pay.
Thank you for watching that video. So guys, before you leave, look at the down here. Do well to subscribe and also put on notification bell so that whenever we upload any video in this great platform, you will be the first to see it. And please don't forget to drop your comment at the comment section what you think about this video, your opinion as well. See guys,